So we got our top for the cabinet glued up, sanded. I didn't go crazy yet, but I got it nice and flat on both sides. Now when we glued it up, we weren't really paying attention to the edge. That's not really how I do it. I'll make it bigger than I need. That way I don't have to worry about getting this perfect. But what we do need to do, we have this nice straight jointed edge and this crooked edge. We need to square off of this. And then once we do that, we can cut this to the final dimension and we know that the whole thing will be square. So one way of doing that, I'll lay this down. I'll use my track saw with this guide rail square. I guess I'll put links to this stuff eventually. I'm figuring this whole video thing out. I know the camera works wild. I know I'm making mistakes, but I've said before, I just want to start, put stuff out there and see what happens. And if it gets bigger, better, maybe more followers, then I can continue to improve and grow with you guys. But again, I apologize for the production value. It'll hopefully get better. So we're going to take this here, lay it on here. I'm going to cut off a little bit of that edge, just whatever I need. I'm going to take my saw and make sure it's the right depth, which it is pretty good. Lay it on the track. Now I could clamp this also, but I trust that this won't move, and I'll just ensure that by holding it. Let's make the cut. Alright. Now we have our piece. Got a framing square here. We're going to check. Now when I lay this on there, it should be pretty good. And I like to do this and kind of feel it, and I'm dead on there. So again, Festool makes a great product. It's worth it if you're going to do this for a living, or try to. Now I got a nice square edge, and for the next part of the process, now we can measure off this side to here, cut this, and this side to here and cut that, and I'll use the table saw for that now. And then after we're done that, we're going to do a radius on the edges here. Okay, now we've got the top. I'm going to set my dimensions and cut this on the table saw. Before I do that, I'll turn on my dust collector. It's going to be loud, but we'll deal with that. So I'm laying out the radius for the corner of the top. I'm going with a radius that hits the edge an inch this way and an inch this way. I could do a future video if you're interested. What I basically do is measure an 1 3/8, 1 3/8. I use a square like this one. Put it on there, pencil it. Now, when I use this compass and I put that right on the 1 3/8 and go like this, you'll see that radius, I have an inch this way and an inch this way. So now there's a few ways to do this. We could do this by hand. I could just cut it with a handsaw and then use a chisel, get close, then use some sandpaper. We could also use a router. Here's a template I used for a different job. So I did my radius. This is plywood, 1/2 inch. Then I finessed it with a sander. You could take this piece, clamp it on the top, and then use a bit designed for this, called a template bit. The bearing would ride on this piece, and the blade would cut into the top. So you basically just go around, and it makes a perfect copy of your template. So what I'm gonna do here is, on this other side of this piece, make my template. I could sand it, file it, get it perfect so it looks great to my eye. Then we're gonna clamp this onto our top. We'll run the router, and then it'll leave us with a perfect curved corner. Okay guys, I have this bit. I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's a bearing and then a blade. The bearing's gonna ride on this piece of wood that I shaped to the desired curve, and the blade is gonna remove any wood here cleanly. In theory. So you can see, I think you can see. Now we're left with our curve that we can finish by hand and sand up. Now we're going to repeat that step for every corner. What I want to do now is put a chamfer, which is a 45-degree cut all the way around this. The tool I'm going to use is a router with a chamfer bit. What this will do, it'll make this 3/4 top appear a little bit thinner and kind of fade in and look nicer. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll see how it looks on the cabinet. I feel like the way this looks now, it's too thick and just kind of looks not like it should. Okay, now we have the top routed, both the radius corner and the bottom. I'll show you what I mean by this. So now the revealed edge is a 1/2 inch rather than 3/4. It gives a nice look. It appears to be kind of floating, if that makes sense. I really like it, and we're gonna go from there. Okay guys, so we're gonna put the shelf in the cabinet here. We're gonna use these brass pins from Woodcraft. These are a 1/4 inch. So what I have here is a jig I got from Rockler. It's good for small jobs like this. I could do a separate video on how to use it, but essentially you put this here and it allows you to drill accurate, repeatable holes inside the cabinet. And it uses a special bit that comes with it right here. And it has a stop on it so you don't go through the cabinet. And then this piece here fits nicely into there, so you get a nice clean job. We have our shelf. This just goes in like so. There you go. Now what we have left is finishing. So sanding, getting rid of the pencil marks, filling any imperfections or holes or anything like that. And then we're going to use a oil to finish this. I'll show how I do that and what product I like to use, and we'll go from there. All right, so now we have our cabinet broken down into all the individual pieces that we can. I'm going to take some sandpaper. This is 120. I'm going to go over, sand everything, break the edges. I don't want any sharp edges. It can actually cut you, and it's just not good overall. So I'm going to go around, sand everything. That's going to be a boring video, so I don't really think I should do a segment on that. And then when we're all done, I'm going to use this product here, which is Rubio Mono Coat. I could go into greater detail if you guys want, but this is a oil that is very durable. You can put on floors, for instance. That's what it's made for, primarily. We're going to put this on the mahogany, and it should turn this red kind of pinkish color into almost like a chocolate with a little bit of red. I might do something else. I might put some black in here also to kind of bring out the green. I'm not sure yet. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to sand for the next about hour or so. I'll show you guys how to put the oil on in the next segment. Okay, so there's more to it than that, but that's the first step. You put the oil on, or this is the way I do it for furniture. There's all different ways. If you guys want to see a video on like the actual process, like detailed measurements and all kinds of stuff, sanding and grits and whatnot, let me know in the comments. But this is what I do. I start with that. I'll let that sit for like, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. I'll come back with a clean rag and I'll buff it in. Leave it to sit. It'll be dry in a few hours really, and then it cures fully, I think in 7 days or something like that. But during those 7 days, you can handle it, move it around, mess with it. It's not gonna really change anything. That's just, you know, like actual, that's the actual time it takes to be fully cured. But you can see the difference, and I love that black, honestly. And then when you flip it around, that was what it looked like before, and that's what it looks like now. And this is only one layer of finish. I don't need to do anything else after this. I'm done after I buff it off. Great product. All right, so we have the oil applied to all the pieces. This is obviously the cabinet itself. Like I said, I take a clean cloth. I use a microfiber cloth. It's okay if it's going to build up a little bit of oil in there. That's actually good, I think. But then you just want to go back over, kind of wipe it down. And as you can see, it looks pretty good. I still have to wipe the inside, but the effect of the black mixed with the oil, they're actually both oil. There's a black oil and a essentially clear oil. I did it one day just as a experiment, I guess. I just thought, hey, maybe this would look good, and I tried it on a test piece. But it looks really good, and it really brings out the grain. It darkens it. So I'm gonna keep wiping off all the oil. I'll let these sit overnight, and then the next time I have a chance, I'm gonna reassemble the cabinet, and then we're all finished. I hope you guys are enjoying the video, and thank you very much. Okay, so we have our finished cabinet here. I'm very pleased with how it turned out. I hope you guys are too. I hope you enjoyed watching. As we move forward, the production value of the videos hopefully will get better. I'm gonna have to learn how to do this. You guys can follow along with me. And overall, I hope I taught something to someone and someone got something out of it. I really do enjoy building furniture. I hope you guys can see that. Thank you very much for following along, and I'll see you on the next one.